Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Glorious Proceedings podcast. I forget which number this is, but you will all never know the glorious conversation that LA5 and I just had, and that's okay. Because you know what? Maybe the universe said that's too much knowledge for anyone to listen to. So we'll start off now with something different. Did you end up watching David?
I did not.
Okay, that's fine. It's a great movie. It follows Samuel's 1 and 2, and it's a beautiful story and movie. And of course, it's they make it for kids, so they do leave out some of the more violent and war and genocide moments of it. That being said, they acknowledge it in a way that is digestible for younger audiences. But it's a beautiful told movie, and it's a musical actually. Very Disney esque, only without the Disney elements, I suppose, of
Mm.
propaganda, because
Mm.
they follow the story very closely, which is very respectful. It was good.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, but you said you watched the
I
TV
like it.
show of it.
Oh, The House of David.
Yeah.
It's very similar to The Chosen, but it has a dark vibe because those are dark times.
Yes, the House
So
of David,
rightfully
eh?
so that there's a dark vibe to it. Yeah. All I can say is I'm glad we don't live in those times, but at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, these times have their own interesting little angle to it. KG3.
LA5.
What if I told you that there's a 95% chance that within the next 7 to 14 years, the Earth is going to experience a magnetic pole shift and the sun is going to perform a micronova that scorches the Earth?
I'd say you better get your suntan lotion. Now that I've heard this before. Now, are you talking about the polar shifts happening, where the magnetic poles flip?
Yes, they go 45 degrees. So what
Oh.
they go to the equator,
Ah.
basically.
Hmm.
And that flips the world 45 degrees. So Antarctica now becomes tropical, just like it once was
Oh,
tropical.
yes. Isn't that? Oh, and all the things that will melt, all the civilizations that will be re-revealed. Interesting.
Yes, but there's also another phenomenon that takes place here in this situation because when the sun does its micronova,
Hmm.
if that is what takes place,
Yes.
that's a massive influx of energy that goes into the earth through the poles. It's not just about the fire
Hmm.
that scorches things, it's about the actual energy influx that gets into the mantle of the earth. It goes into the tectonic plates and it causes them to break apart.
Oh,
And now
wow.
you have continents free flowing.
Right.
They're no longer bound by the same parameters that they had before, and they completely reform. And so everything becomes new in the sense that it settles into a completely different arrangement than it was at prior.
Mm.
And so the earth will never be the same again. It
Yes.
has to become completely rearranged.
Reshaped
And,
again.
and apparently, this has happened dozens of times when you look at the different layers of the earth. And the last one was 12,000 years ago with a complete charred scorching. You can see it in the shells as the layers of the earth, and the different isotopes that are present there give it a pretty accurate date as to what likely took place there.
Mm.
But this magnetic shift, this happens every 6,000 years. And so the one that happened 6,000 years ago is theorized to be the Noah, the flood.
Ah, yes.
And that was the mechanism that caused the actual earth to unleash the ocean from within, which is 3 times larger underneath the crust than what we have on the surface of the earth.
Hmm.
And so that's what causes that huge reshaping of the earth in that kind of a way. And here's the actual mechanism that's theorized to be what causes all of this, including the pole shift. Picture a still lake, a pond of water, mirror flat. And now there's a bobber sitting on the surface of the water. That bobber starts moving up and down rhythmically, perfectly. And then that causes rings of ripples to outwardly emanate. That is what is supposed to be taking place at the center of the Milky Way galaxy,
Okay.
where
Interesting.
there are magnetic waves that are pulsating outwards. And the amount of time that it takes for one wave to come in and pass is a 6,000-year gap. So there's always a 6,000-year phase of stillness, and then the next magnetic wave comes. And the size of this wave is huge. Like, it's bigger than our solar system in amplitude.
Yeah.
Our solar system is like floating fungus, or like just like algae on top of the water in comparison to this big ripple.
Yeah.
So when this ripple hits, it causes the magnetic poles, of course, because it's electromagnetism or magnetic um, electro,
Hmm.
and it interferes with how everything is magnetically arranged on each of the planets and the stars. So it changes the very way that it is able to be upright on the fabric of the solar system and the fabric of the galaxy. Not just that, but within these waves, these large electromagnetic waves, it collects the dust, the debris from the entire galaxy. And then that dust, it hits the sun. And that causes the sun to darken because now you have this layer of space dust, making it
Oh.
into like a red star. And so that slowly builds energy because you still have the sun producing its energy, but now that energy can't get out. So now it's building pressure, and it's building, it's building, it's
And then
building.
it.
Then micronova. It doesn't kill the star. It's not a supernova,
Yeah.
but it's a micro event where it just sheds its skin, kind of a thing.
And
It
all
blows
that
apart
comes
the barrier.
flying, and there's all the fiery skies and everything because everything's hurtling down on
Just
us.
like the book of Revelation says. I think it's the third angel that pours his cup out, and it causes the sun to scorch the earth.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so now this scientist, uh, he goes by the pen name of Suspicious Observers. That's his YouTube channel. His
Okay.
name's Ben, and he's dedicated his life and his mind to this. And I would say he seems like a very intelligent individual. Definitely a little bit bitter, but he's probably had to face uh, a lot
Backlash.
of rejection of his ideas and backlash. Yeah, massively. But he's been proven right on numerous things. Micronovas weren't even a theory until 2022.
Really
And
interesting.
he was theorizing them back in 2017. And he has published a couple of papers, I think, in some different scientific journals. So he's not like just like some random guy. He has dedicated his mind to expanding in true knowledge of the subject.
Hmm.
It's just he is able to cut through some of the barriers that other people just kind of allow themselves to be deflected from.
Hmm.
He doesn't just accept certain things that don't make sense. And so he's got this new documentary that's out that goes over the data, and then he's got the layman's version of just being a really well put together documentary, well shot, great color correction. As a filmmaker, you'd probably appreciate it. And yeah, that's basically what it says. It takes all the data and it summarizes it, and it looks at what our magnetic field has been doing for the last 50 years or so. And it shows how it has been declining dramatically. The amount of magnetic power that it has lost in the last 5 years is shocking.
Hmm.
It took about 100 years for it to lose 10%. And then that 100 years, we lost another 10% in 10 years from just the year 2000 to 2010. And then it's still accelerating in its loss. And we can see that with the effect of the northern lights that we've seen in the last couple of years. Because the events that took place on the sun to trigger that event, to show us those northern lights, those solar flares and those CMEs weren't that big.
Isn't it
They're pretty
interesting?
modest.
Isn't it interesting how the timeline of us losing 10% and then this ramp up speeding from 2010 to now is even more, and that coincides with technology.
Mm.
I don't
Are
know
you
if there's
saying
anything. I'm wondering how much, because everything is a cycle. This would be repeating, And there would be people in power. I do believe, I'm not saying it's the president of the United States, but the people in power behind everything. They would have the knowledge of all the ages and the previous times. And if they're aware of stuff like this, I wonder if there is such a thing where, there's so many theories where it's like, oh, aliens brought us technology or stuff like that, or even just how how technology is just like we were horse and buggy for millennia and millennia. Then now we're just a switch over the last hundred and so years to everything technology wise, right? I wonder if there
Mm.
is a correlation with knowing that when the magnetic uh, pull happens, you move more towards utilizing uh, the airwaves with devices than you would just naturally, because back in the day just people were more in tune with like nature and themselves, and or so we would, it seems. There's obviously still
Mm.
hell on earth with wars and stuff of that nature, but it does feel people respected at least living with the planet a lot more, whereas now it's
Ah.
take everything we can to keep us in a state of perpetual comfort in a way.
Mm.
I wonder if there's a correlation there.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hmm.
I might have just cobbled a few things together just for no reason. Like I don't know if there's a
Ah.
correlation. I just find it interesting that,
No, there
your
very well could
timeline
be.
just coincides with it. It's just interesting.
Mm-hmm.
What was the name of this documentary?
Hmm. The disaster cycle.
The Disaster Cycle. Okay.
Um.
And is it just on YouTube?
Yeah, it's called The Disaster Cycle by Space Weather News.
Space Weather News. Ah, Space Weather News. Well, it's looking partly comedy out there.
Yeah, there's two of them.
Hmm.
There's the nice documentary, then there's the amateur put together with the data and the evidence of Ben narrating and putting on his own presentation in between the scenes, kind of a thing.
Okay. Hmm.
But yeah, I looked mostly at that as well, and didn't really add that much. It just fills in that much more of the details as to how they're arriving at their conclusions.
Okay. Fair enough.
But it doesn't give a different message. The message is there's a 95% certainty that within the next 7 to 14 years we're going to experience the pole shift, and it happens in a day.
It happens in a day, so
And
the scorching would happen within a day as well.
as soon as that dust hits
Yeah.
and covers the sun, and the sun goes red and then darkens, that's pretty soon. That's when the explosion is going to hit, and that's going to take at least about maybe a day for it to arrive to the Earth, because there's a significant amount of distance that needs to travel, and it's pretty dense particles, so it takes about a day to fill the
Mm-hmm.
distance. But nonetheless, I mean, we're talking about the end of the cycle that matches also with Revelations and with a lot of different things that we're seeing around the just landscape right now on a global level of
Mm-hmm.
how everything's coming into play, including cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, AI technology, all culminating to the singularity
Mm.
and what that seems to be moving toward, which is the promise of utopia with the likelihood of disaster.
Well,
Just like all civilizations and how they seem to
yes.
implode.
Well, the road to hell is always paved with good intentions.
But
Yeah.
KG3,
Mm-hmm.
here's the question.
All right.
Let's say we'll give it 7 years. There's
Okay.
there's now 100% certainty that within 7 years we're going to have the end of the world. Hopefully that results in the rapture happening. But nonetheless, we got 7 years of experience, and you now have $100 million in your portfolio. Does that change things? That there's only 7 years left versus, several decades.
Does that change things?
With how you're going to steward your money, what are you going to do with it, kind of a thing.
Well, if there's 7 years left, I would make sure that every dollar went to something. That's for sure.
Mm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
what's the point in holding it if it's only 7 years?
Exactly.
And even if I'm wrong, well then I made a lot of people happy and throughout 7 years. So there's still
Right.
and there's something beautiful to that because there's always a 7 year cycle. So I utilized a cycle to make a lot of people's lives easier,
Mm.
or at least I would
Mm-hmm.
hope that be the case.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, it seems like it introduces a level of urgency to put this money to good use.
Yes. Yes, to do something
And I believe
positive with it.
that's what's coming upon us, I believe.
Mm.
There's an old proverb that the treasures of darkness are stored up for the righteous.
Mm. Yes.
And another proverb says that those who charge excessive amounts of interest and make money through greedy means just ends up storing it up for the ones who are kind and generous towards the poor.
Yeah.
So, through our portfolios, we're probably going to experience a mass influx of money, but it's going to be a very temporary thing. And
Yes.
we're going to have the chance to be able to be good stewards of that and help make positive change in the world for that brief window in time when it's available.
Yes.
Have you ever had the dream where you watch XRP on a chart and it just keeps on going up and up and up, and all of a sudden you look at your portfolio and it's like, oh my goodness, it's like $100 million in there. And then at the same time, I go to sell, and then I can't. It all goes to zero before I have a chance to sell.
Go.
I've
I.
I've had this
Yeah.
dream numerous times now,
Interesting.
and my
Interesting.
friend has too. My friend Tyler, very similar dream.
I wonder where it comes where you can't sell. I wonder why that is the constant. Now, what does that make of it? When you think of that dream, do you think it is very much prophetic on being exactly what it's about? Or do you think there's something to that where it's actually, like most dreams, more so metaphorical for,
Message based.
yes,
I
message
believe the
based?
message is you are about to come into a whole bunch of money, but if you just store it up for yourself, you're going to get nothing.
Ah, I like that.
It's going to be a short window of time, and 7 years, 7 to 14 years, if that's accurate, is relatively a short period of time
That's nothing.
to steward tens of millions of dollars, if not more than $100 million,
Hmm.
for good purposes that actually bring quality of life and ideally ignite true spiritual life in the people here. And there's so many different charities and organizations that are desperate for funds that are doing good work out there.
Yes.
So the idea of being a philanthropist to those different organizations, I do believe is part of our destiny.
That sounds beautiful to me. Yeah, if
Because we're
the
going to have
more people
more
we can
money than
help.
we're going to need for ourselves.
Oh
Way
gosh,
more.
yeah.
It's going to be overflowing.
Hmm. I 100% agree with you on that.
And
Wow,
time could be of the essence.
true. We truly are living in very interesting times.
Mm.
Ah, yes. Now, your fella who made that documentary in the 7-14 years, let me ask you, how much of that do you feel or believe is accurate? And the reason I ask that is when it comes to, because that right there is a doomsday prophecy. You know, it's another example of the world is going to end in 7 to 14 years then.
Mm-hmm.
And all I can think is with that is global warming. In the 50s, they said we have 10 years and we're dead. In the 70s, they said
Oh,
we
Al
have 10
Gore.
years and we're dead, you know? And it kept moving, it kept moving. They keep moving the goalpost, you know?
Mm-hmm.
With that, I find, I think it's fascinating. But we are in a time where they say we're in a time of disclosure, right? Like there's giving away, like they're like, oh, wait, Alistair was showing me a documentary on disclosure, and I love the way that these guys in the documentary were wording it because they'd say there is non-human intelligence here on this earth, and we have interacted with it.
Mm.
What a statement! Because you're not saying it's an alien, you're saying a non-human intelligence, so that could be a cat, and we've interacted with it. Yeah, we interact. So it's you're actually not lying when you say these statements. So you can say it without lying, but you're saying it within a documentary that's about aliens. So people will go, oh, it's clearly talking about aliens. But they could just be thinking in their mind, yeah, I've interacted with a house cat before. It's a non human intelligence, and I had a whole conversation with it. All it did was meow back at me. But there it is. Because they never once would say, "Oh, we have this spacecraft," or "We've had this conversation with a alien." It was always non-human. They always say non-human intelligence, and that they've conversed with it.
Hmm.
And it just there was something about it as I'm watching it, because also like the Three Eye Atlas. I know this feels like I'm going off brand or topic, but I promise you it comes back around. Like the Three Eye Atlas. You know what that was? They were talking about like
Nope.
that. Okay, so that was this long cylindrical comet that was coming towards Earth, and then they're saying, "Oh no, it's a spaceship." And this was so they were talking about this back in, I think it was October. And as it was coming closer, they kept saying, "This is an alien craft." And if you look at its trajectory, it's going to come to the sun, wrap around it, and come to Earth. And like it will come right to Earth. So, and they're saying this trajectory doesn't make sense. Like it shows that it's an intelligent craft and will. So it's an alien. So for 3 or 4 months, they were constantly saying Three Eye Atlas, and Alistair was huge into it. And then out of nowhere, they just stopped talking about it. And so I was curious, and I looked into it. It just went by the sun and kept moving. It didn't even turn. It just
Hmm.
kept going. And it's just, oh, so it was just a meteor. So it was nothing. So it was just fun. This idea, like putting right at the same time that they're giving disclosure for all these supposed aliens. And also the other thing, too, they keep saying there are these UAPs, these unidentified aerial phenomenons, which is UFOs, the new term for UFOs now, but they call them UAPs. And again, they show the footage of what they're talking about, and we live in the era of 6K video, 12K. We can zoom in on the moon, we can do all these things, and it's all just pixelated video of this little dog going across the screen, and they're like, and it goes in the water, like it goes in the water, and you just see a pixel just disappear into the water. But at the same time, but as I'm watching this as an editor too, all I'm thinking is that looks so bad that it's either it's real because it looks so bad, or it's clearly fake.
Hmm.
One of those. And they say we have hundreds of thousands of videos of these UAPs. This whole documentary showed the same video over
Same
and
pixel.
over. Yes. Like not even like it was an extended version of it either. It was the same 10-second image of this pixel just going into the water, and you hear the guy, "Oh, we got something out here. This all over the water. Oh, what's that?" And I'm not saying that there aren't things out there. Like I believe
Right.
that there are and can be, but it's how they're going about it. And so how
Hmm.
I'm wrapping this back around to your guy with the 7 day, 7 year to 14 year. I'm not saying that he's wrong because I don't know, and I'm not just trying to disprove it anyway. But I'm skeptical only on the level of we also have everything to do with science of space is I will use the term it's such hearsay to me because everything about it is to a degree made up. And I
Hmm.
don't mean it's not act like obviously there are planets, there are galaxies, there's a universe. We know of the magnetic, like everything, all that, 100% real belief. But our knowledge of everything is so. I think that's what's going to happen. Oh, it didn't. And then if it does, I was right. Yep, I knew it the whole time. It's
Hmm.
so speculative at all times. And also for the very reason of this, we'll look at these like it's amazing we have like I'll use the example of having the UAP footage, the crappiest looking footage of this alien. Where's the 6K footages of all this? Where is where we capture this in high definition? We have high definition cameras. It's also the military capturing this. Their technology is better than anything we have as the average person. There's no way that they
Well,
haven't captured this type of stuff in higher technologies. And I will bring that back again to the space stuff, where they're saying, look at all this high definition footage of Mars or of Saturn and all this, and it's from satellites that were sent off into space in the 80s and the 70s and stuff. And then they say, oh, well, it's a picture of this fuzzy image, and we actually just then put it into Photoshop and made it look the way we think it'll look.
Mm.
It's all it's I don't want to use the word, I'm using this very lightly, but it's just all lies.
Mm.
It's it is or just or let me rephrase that. It's not the fact that it's lies, it's just Hollywood, I'll call it. It's like watching a movie and at the start it says based on true events.
Mm.
So it's saying space is real, these planets are out there, but we're making the rest up. You know, that's how I kind of look at everything to do with space these days because I used to be so big into it. Like everything to do with Mars, especially like the face on Mars, the red planet, all this stuff, the rovers that's up there. And
You wanted
then,
to be an astronaut at one point, didn't you, as a
of
kid?
course, there's another big one. There's another big one. When if we have gone to space, if we've gone up to space to the moon and everything, wouldn't it be? I find it so troubling that we live in the era of space travel, yet there is no real push by the public or by even those groups. Where are these astronauts? Where's all the kids who wanted to grow up to be astronauts? You
Mm.
would think if we can go to space, everyone would be clamoring to be an astronaut. Wait,
Mm.
I get to go up to space? That'd be cool. Where are all
So are
these
you saying
people?
there's no pending trainees? There's no like
Oh,
demand to become an astronaut?
there 100% are. But when you look at everyone who's actually gone to space, what are their connections? Well, I'll tell you, all of them have a picture like this. It's all Freemasons. Like
Mm.
they're always it's the same as most of Hollywood. It's the same as the government. They're all in a club, and we're not in it. It's all and
A
like
club that wants
NASA.
to like give a certain narrative?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, they control the narrative. And
Mm.
NASA itself, like that's Nazi science. That's us taking the Nazis and bringing them over here. Like that whole institution was started by like it's an American institution, but it was run by the Nazis. We were like, okay, you come over and work for us, and we essentially won't just like try you at Nuremberg. And they're like, all right. And so everything that they've been doing, yeah, yeah, it's crazy because even with like Elon Musk, all his rockets, they never actually leave the atmosphere. Like everything gets up to a point like that. Like so, like his one rocket, and they cut away from the footage, and I always found that one so tongue in cheek. Is the one that goes like this. The rocket goes like this, and then it looks like it actually hits something and goes, and like it's starting to make a streak of fire across, but it's the way it turned. It went up and went like that. It didn't like
Mm.
go up and like go boom and like make like the Boeing motion, right?
It hit a boundary layer of some sort.
Yes, it hit a boundary layer of some sort, which again, if we want to talk religiously, the firmament.
Mm.
Like we are, I am a firm believer we are in a closed system. And I'm not
Hmm.
saying that space isn't real. It's absolutely real. Everything is out there, but I don't think we as humans can leave this place. It's a
Mm.
terrarium. We're not allowed to leave. We are made for here.
Mm.
And everything that says that we can leave, all the institutions that say that we can, are constantly lying to us through other means. So it's like take our word on this, but don't. It's like don't look behind the curtain.
Mm.
Like we can make it to the moon, and then the only excuse that we don't go back is we lost the technology. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Everything to do with that first lunar mission to where we got there, everything's destroyed. That's ridiculous.
It does seem pretty far fetched.
Yeah,
I have seen that interview with that NASA employee
yeah,
saying that we can't replicate the technology, that we don't have it.
yeah,
It seemed real. I don't know. I don't know the
yeah.
guy, but
I'm also saying I'm not, and again, I'm not saying we haven't gone to the moon. I'm not saying we can't travel space. Um, But what I am saying is I am very skeptical of it all.
Mm.
If it would be, it's one where I actually need updated proof.
Mm-hmm.
I need an updated proof because everything to do with that mission in and again and the like one thing that I can give credit to us going is that would mean China and Russia would have said no, you didn't. You know that, or actually, and again, I'll even like break that into one where it still goes to me being skeptical. That also shows that there's no such thing as the nation states. Everything is a everyone's a puppet, and everyone is a part of a global cabal when it comes to the power structures. And again, that is just a giant illusion. And another one about that is it's a very anti-Christian movement. The idea of
Mm.
space travel is very anti-Christian because that shows that we are these insignificant specks on this little ball in this grand overarching like place, and that we don't have purpose or meaning. Everything about that is all, and like the fact that they say that we're flying through space at 666 miles an hour. Wow, what a number to choose. Like the fact that that's how fast the earth is going is ridiculous to me. There's so many things that just make it where I'm just like, I think I'm being. It's like I feel like there's a little bit of a. I'm going down a rabbit hole here. This is all conspiracy based, and I have no true factual evidence outside of, you know what, using my eyes and ears
Mm.
and saying, I feel like I'm being lied to a lot by these institutions.
Mm. Sure. Yeah. Understandable.
Yeah. There's even moments. There's video footage of it's Buzz Aldrin saying we never went to the moon. Like him saying that he was one of the original guys. Like it's interesting. It's strange.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what comes to mind too for me is like what information matters. Like I
Mm,
feel like the information that matters is the information that changes how I'm going to conduct myself in my life.
yes.
That's the information to me that matters. Whether we went to the moon or not doesn't change. Whether we can escape the Van Allen belts and actually travel to Mars, it doesn't change how I live my life at all.
Yeah.
So those things, I think they're interesting tangents that are just fun to talk about.
Oh, I
And what's
believe.
the truth on
Yes.
it? I don't know. But
Yes.
like fun conversations around the campfire kind of a thing. But like what about the stuff that changes how I approach life? That is the information that I think is really that's what gets me. And here's the one thing that I've learned is that perspective of how we perceive the universe, ourselves, God, those are the things that actually have utility. The beliefs that shape our perception.
Mm.
Because that's what's going to end up having an effect on how we conduct ourselves, how we attempt to build a future or allow the future to unfold naturally for us and just stay in alignment, depending on whether or not you're in the camp that believes I control the future or I receive the future that's already laid out. Even that one alone has a fundamental change as to how we're going to be conducting ourselves. Because if I believe that I am solely responsible for controlling my future, that it's up for me to manifest and control, that's going to result in me being in my head a lot to think about the future, what it needs to look like, and how I am going to create a map and a business plan that has a 5-year structured goals to get there.
Mm.
I'm going to be thinking about that a lot. I'm not going to be nearly as present as if I think and I believe that the future's already set and I'm being led into it. If I believe that, now I'm going to allow my mind to actually be present and engaging in the moment
Yes.
and focused on the things that are currently taking place that are fundamentally true. So that changes how I'm going to be able to actually interact in my life. So that information matters. And now can I actually prove one way or the other? can I prove that we're in control of our destiny to a T in every detail? Or can I prove that we actually receive every detail of a predestined future?
Well, you
Not really.
I love how you brought that around though, because there's something you said that is very very poignant. You said you're going to be in your head a lot if you're trying to control the path to the future. It's like I need to make sure that these are the steps I take, and that's leading yourself up to failure because nothing ever goes directly as planned. It's detrimental.
Which is interesting feedback. That's
Yeah,
interesting feedback from the universe.
yeah. But if you see yourself already where you want to go and you trust and have faith in the process of getting there, you don't need to be in your head because you just already are where you're going. Everything else just has to catch up around you. And that's
Mm,
not about thinking about controlling the outcome. That's just, I don't know when it's going to happen, but I know that's where I'm heading.
yeah. And that's another proverb by King Solomon. You can make plans for your life, but it's God that establishes your steps to get there.
Yes.
So you have the vision, you have the trajectory, you have the desire that wants to be fulfilled, but you don't know how it's going to happen and you can't figure it out. It's veiled.
Yeah.
But then my question becomes, where does that desire come from to begin with? Why do I want this certain experience in my life? Is it because there's actually a desire that was imbued and planted inside of me that now compels me to go towards that particular ideal?
Mm.
And if that's the case, my life can be predestined just by having desires implanted on the inside of my innermost being that end up being the very compelling forces that cause my decisions to go one way or the other. And in that case, that would come into a camp of predestination. But whether or not, I mean, I could give a whole bunch of verses as to what I believe to reveal the truth of the laws of the universe and how God made things to be that support the idea that, yeah, everything's predestined and we're going to be led into it. But it's still just a belief.
Yeah.
I'm still just taking a leap of faith to saying this is what looks to be true. So I'm going to cling my life to these promises and operate as if they are fundamentally true. But it's still just a leap of faith. But what does it do? What's the utility of it? It increases my peace. It increases my level of unconditional trust. It enriches my faith as long as my faith is validated along the way, which from my experience that's been happening numerous times. And typically it's going to happen anyway because what we look for, we find. So we do become validated in the things that we're looking for. If we're looking for confirmations that, aha, I am being guided. Aha, I do have a good destiny that's being laid out before me and marked already. We're going to find them. And what's the effect of that? More trust, unconditional, more peace, more enjoyment, more engaged with the moment,
More
and being able to
optimistic.
actually doing life on purpose.
Yes.
Absolutely. And I mean, that's always a good deal. That's all we want anyway.
The
So if
best
my
deal.
beliefs and my perspectives are actually causing more sustainable peace, more love, more trust, well then I mean that's what I'm going to want to adopt into my perspective anyway.
One that I've adopted recently, not always succeeding, but I'm getting better at it. I'll use the example for this. One that I've adopted is when I'm in traffic, if I am trying to get somewhere and I want to get by someone, or there's someone won't let me by, or someone cuts me off, or someone slows down, like we've all had this where someone's in front of you and you're behind them, you're going like this, and the light turns yellow, and you could clearly make it through, but they decide to stop. And then so
Hmm.
now you're stuck behind them, and it's like, and you're thinking, well, if I was ahead of them, I would have definitely gone through the yellow, and I would have made it because we would have made it. We had time. I now have this in my mind, and it doesn't always work because sometimes I'll go, oh, why didn't you go through? And just again, a little outburst that's unnecessary, but I do it right. But what I've started to do now is this: he slows down, I get stopped behind him, and I go, thank you. You must be slowing me down because something ahead was going to be detrimental to me. Even moments of being slowed down in any situation or something gets in the way that is out of your control, I try my best to always think of it as You're putting this obstacle in my way because it's necessary for me to get where I'm going safely.
Hmm.
It's being slowed
And it
down
has
on
good
purpose.
utility.
Yes, it
That
does.
sounds like it. Yeah, it brings peace.
Yes,
It
exactly.
harmonizes the moment,
Yes,
and it always feels better. We
always.
always we all want, our soul craves harmony.
Truly. Uh, oh, yeah, yeah. I'll tell you, I thought my movie was going to be done in October. Here we are, February. And I have the messages on my phone. Monday, I'm sitting down and watching the finalized audio. And if I have no notes, it's 100% done. It
Hmm.
just is done. That being said, I've been saying that for months and months, so it's
There
not
might
done
be
until it's
notes.
done. Yeah, there might be notes, so it's not done till it's done.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But
and I think
another
having that
example. Mm-hmm.
unconditional approach of that it'll be done when it's done,
Yeah.
is a great example of a harmonious approach because it's non-resistance to what initially we think it has to be.
Mm.
It has to be this date. It has to be. But what if that's not the ideal date? It's just we think that's the ideal date given the information that we're working with, which is incomplete information.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What if there's actually a better date that has a more valuable ending?
Mm.
That's way better. Being flexible, KG3, touche. That's a great example.
It's how you gotta approach everything. If the amount of useless stress I would have been putting myself through if I was forcing all of my post production team to have everything done on the date that I said.
Mm.
And yeah, it serves no purpose. It's extra stress, and I still recall just the process of filming it. Never mind post production. Post production's been a breeze in the sense of all I have to do is talk with people and sit down with people. I don't have to lug equipment in and out of forests and work 12-hour days and stuff. And the process of actually filming it, this post production stuff, yeah, it's taking a lot more time than I thought, but it's a breeze in the sense of the stress that it has to induce. Because
Mm.
back with all the filming, the having to wait through weather and through injuries and everything, but it got done. And
Mm-hmm.
once it was done, it was. I always saw the end. Here, there, we can bring it all back to what we were saying. I saw the end already before I began, and
Boom.
this movie very much was a faith-based trajectory because I always said it'll get done when it gets done.
Ah.
I trusted God's plan for it because my plan wasn't working out.
Mm.
But it didn't mean that it wasn't going to get done. It just wasn't on my plan. It wasn't on my
Right.
schedule. And so here
Yeah.
we are. God's schedule knows best. And he's allowed it to get this far. So, yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for how much further God will allow it to go.
Mm.
Hmm. Very good times
Yeah, and
ahead.
that's touche.
Hmm.
KG3, very much so. I like that because it expresses humility, a humble nature of not saying this is how it must go, this is what it has to be, this is the best because I know it's the best, I say it's the best. It's throwing all of that out the window and being like, well, he knows what's best, it'll
Yeah.
be on his timetable, and he's going to guide me through it. It's got the faith and the humility in it, and those are the approaches, I believe, and from my experience, that are rewarded.
Yes. Yeah, and it is a reward. It's all rewarding. It also allows for in the times in between everything to recalibrate and figure things out that will again make it better. It's
Mm.
every break that was had during this entire process only allowed for me to look at what we'd done and see what was useful, see what wasn't, and I can now use that moving forward. And every single day, one of my favorite things about the entire filming process was being able to edit the days in full so the actors and crew could see what we've done. So one, the crew can go, okay, I know we need a little bit more lighting here for the next day or this, and to be able to, because we are small budget indie, right? So for them to say, oh, we could use this type of lighting or this type of setup for future days. And for the cast to watch their performance and go, okay, I can get back into that mentality, or this is where I want the character's trajectory to go. If I was acting like this in this scene, I know where I want to have the character go in that scene, or like how they should feel before that scene. Because we filmed this movie entirely out of order, as most films are, but we were entirely out of order. So it was fun to be able to see the actors make their choices, considering it was
Mm.
15 days over 8 months. Uh, them being able to look at what they did on certain days and go, okay, so this is what I need to feel and almost look like to merge into there.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All the benefits of how things have gone is this movie doesn't work if it wasn't filmed the way it was. It blows my mind how true that is.
Mm.
It's
Sounds
very
like the
cool.
flow is with you, KG3.
Oh, indeed.
The flow is strong with this one.
Yes, the flow has arrived. Thank you, Lord. uh, excellent. Ah,
Well, that's exciting. I look forward to seeing your masterpiece come together.
so soon. When is are you by chance gonna be coming back down this way anytime soon?
Maybe in May.
Maybe in May? That's when I was planning to get the theater. That's actually amazing.
Interesting.
That is serendipitous. I love that.
Mm.
Okay, so yes, if May's going to be around the time you're thinking of coming, I will be yes, I'll be booking the venues around that time. So I will keep you posted because I need you there. I need you in the theater. You need to see yourself on the big screen.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah,
I would enjoy that.
there's a an awesome piece of editing that Curtis did for your scene that I wasn't expecting. Because I never thought that you would actually be vacuuming, like it would be turned on or anything, right? But he added in the effect where you actually hear the vacuum. And it's
You can
so
hear
fun.
it.
Yeah, but the best part of it is this. You can hear it while you're like, that's a little weird, and you're like coming from a guy vacuum by himself in a parking lot. And then when it comes back to you, you hear and you turn it off so you could tell it the story about your dad. And just
Yeah, that
it
would
sounds and looks hilarious. Just a fun story about my dad.
that would add a nice rhythm. Yeah,
It does. It's so good. Yeah, it's great.
amazing.
Yeah, can't wait, my friend. Can't wait.
Mm.
Well, what do you say we call it there?
Yeah, yeah, I think that's good timing. I got to call back Len, who I'm meeting up with 20 minutes.
Oh, very
And
good.
he called me and he also texted me, but more important things at the moment. So I got to
Absolutely.
see what his message is. Could be a cancellation, who knows?
Oh, fair enough. Well,
Or he could be like, "Hey, bring lemon meringue pie."
ooh, do you
That
have
could
the
happen.
pie?
I don't, but I can get
But you can get it. There's a store.
it.
My God, there's only pumpkin and blueberry.
Mm,
All delicious options. LA5,
agreed.
two great conversations. One recorded, one always in the vault.
Oh yes, very much so.
Uh, all right, my friend. You enjoy your evening. Have a great time with your friends, and we will chat again soon.
Yes, Michelle. KG3. Thank you.
LA5. Thank you. Bye for now, buddy.